Welcome everyone to another video, and in this video we are going to be taking a look at the Charizard solo that I completed today. Charizard solo has been on my bucket list. First time it came out when Rampardos was available. Didn't get partly cloudy and it just didn't line up with my schedule, so I wasn't able to do it. It was partly cloudy for most of the day, so I found a little bit of time to be able to go out and do the solo. So I went to the Charizard and ended up having Fire Spin and Overheat. And Fire Spin and Overheat is Charizard solo is not super difficult, but it's on the easier realm of all the possible solos in terms of tier fours. And not that there's actually that many. It might be the only one that I can think of right now, without being a Moxel, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But you'll see that when we take a look at Fire Spin Overheat, we see 8 feints, and obviously you're only bringing 6 Rampardos to your team when you first enter a raid, and you'll see 175.9 time to win, and there's 180 seconds in a raid. So if you didn't dodge at all, on average you would have to relobby, and if you have to relobby during a solo, then you're very likely to lose. So that's something to take into consideration, and it's actually a little bit more difficult than, like, for example, Air/Dragon Claw. And the reason why that's the case, one, that Overheat's gonna hit you much harder, which means that more your Rampardos are gonna faint, and that's more, fainting time, which is time that you're not doing damage. More likely you're gonna relobby, all that stuff. But it's also the case that Rampardos can survive multiple Dragon Claws, and it can't survive multiple Overheats. And if your Rampardos faints with a significant amount of health left because of an Overheat, that means that's all that HP didn't turn into energy, and less energy means less DPS, which means that it's going to be a slower time to win. So with Air/Dragon Claw, it's very unlikely or not possible that you're going to lose a significant amount of HP because of Dragon Claw. It's also the case that when we compare it to Fire Blast, you're not able to survive multiple Fire Blasts, but Overheat's slightly more difficult because Overheat is a stronger move. You're less likely to survive multiple, or you're less likely to have 2 Overheats hit your one Rampardos, versus you're more likely to have multiple Fire Blasts hit your Rampardos, and that's because, like, there's less Fire Spins that you can tank if you've tanked an Overheat versus a Fire Blast and all that stuff. You're just rolling the odds. But let's go ahead and take a look at the individual solo. So I like to click on it, then go to run a solo attempt, and you'll see here that when we take a look at the 6 Rampardos in this particular simulation, it has 1,000 HP out of 9,000, so it's pretty close to being complete. But you'll see that you do need to dodge. But there's a couple important numbers I like to look at. I like to look at the DPS. So for a solo tier 4, in a solo tier 4, you need to do 50 DPS in order to complete the raid as a solo. And that's 9,000 HP divided by 180 seconds, which means 50 damage per second. And there's no relobbying, so you don't need to really go that much higher in order to complete the solo. So as you can see here, it's pretty comfortable that you can get over 50 DPS. If you run the simulation over and over again, there's going to be maybe like 2 in 12 or something like that, or 1 in 6 that are below 50. But even when they're below 50, they're usually 48, 49, so pretty close. So on average, you're not really worried about how much damage you're going to do, and that's because Rampardos 1 has a crazy attack stat. 2 has access to Smackdown Rock Slide, which is a really great moveset combination, but it is also the case that Charizard is a flying fire type, so Smackdown and Rock Slide are dealing double super effective damage. So I like to take a look at the DPS. I like to take a look at how much health after the 6 Rampardos has fainted is left on the Charizard, so I can understand how much I need to dodge. So I need about 18%. Like, I need to have basically create enough health from dodging to have basically a 7.5 Rampardos. What I also like to take a look at is at a 15 defense, how much damage does an overheat do. So it does 116 damage, and each fire spin does 11. So when I take a look at Rampardos, it has about 184 HP, 180 HP. That means it has like 64, 68 HP left. So it can survive between 6 and 7. It can survive between like 5 or 6 overheat, depending on how much HP and whether or not you're going to get hit a break point or bulk point with fire spin. A little bit unlikely, but at level 40, so you're looking at like you can only really tank for sure 5 fire spins from Charizard plus an overheat in order to survive. And then as well, I know that, okay, it does 116 damage. If I dodge an overheat, that means only 20% of the damage is applied. So that's like roughly 30-ish HP. And that means at when Protos hits red, that it would be at like 45, 46 HP. So I know that when it hits red, I can definitely dodge an overheat and likely survive one more fire spin with a sliver of health, depending on the IVs of my Rampardos. So I need to take that into consideration, that if I'm going to do some late game dodging or late low health dodging, I need to know like at what point does it make sense for me to dodge, because if I can dodge, get off one more smackdown, survive the next fire spin, it's very likely that I'm going to be able to get off the rock slide. So just some important markers I like to look at when determining the viability of this kind of solo. Anyways, lots of technical jargon when we're really just tapping away at the screen and hitting the charge move and doing some rough calculations. I saw this really great post on Reddit by Cuddy from the Pogo raids. It's not really about fighting the raid boss. It's really about solving a puzzle. And this is like it really like pieced things together for me. Not as a joke. As you can see, this is actually a terrible RNG for me because I'm not able to get off that rock slide. Even if I was attempted to get off the rock slide, it's likely that the damage window would apply after the damage window of the overheat. But anyways, like when we talked about like it's like not about fighting, it's about solving a puzzle. I'm like, that made so much sense, like, because I do all this research to try to figure out, okay, how much damage am I doing? How much do we need to dodge? How many fire spins can I take? And these are all just pieces of information to allow you to solve this puzzle. Even though it looks like a relatively simple activity, I'm just tapping with the screen, hitting the charge move. It might be impressive here that I know when to dodge, because you need to optimize how many smackdowns you do before you dodge. Because ideally, in theory, if you see the fire overheat coming, like right now, I could stop doing smackdowns. But ideally, what you want to do is to do a smackdown right up until the damage window is, and then dodge. So you can see I flipped around 95. I'm still on my third Rampardos, and I do a miscalculation there. I should just hit the rock slide, but I was being a little bit too conservative there, which is quite all right. And a little bit of lag, and I'm able to get off another rock slide here. And these are like pieces of information that you can use to solve this type of puzzle. And so here I know that once I turn red, I can survive in one fire spin, which is there, and then and survive a dodged overheat. And this is like critical information for me to know beforehand, so I can successfully do this raid. I'm on my second last one, so I feel pretty comfortable, so I'm not going to dodge here. And I'm doing a ton of damage with my rock slides, and then I just dodge here so that I can get off that rock slide pretty successfully. And I do feint, and then at this stage, like I need to get off 3 more rock slides, as long as it doesn't do a fire overheat too early. So it does one here, which I'm going to get 1 energy for, and then I'm pretty much at the last rock slide that I need to complete. So again, it looks like a pretty simple activity, but it's really about putting together the right tools in place to solve this puzzle. You have 180 seconds to solve this puzzle. You have a mechanism that allows you to make progress. And there's also a mechanism that prevents you from making progress. Like you faint, you get hit by the raid boss, you might have glitches, all this stuff, right? And how can you optimize your particular situation to solve a puzzle that, in theory, is very close. Is only very possible to solve if you follow the right mechanisms and put the things down together. So anyways, we're going to be posting some duos once I get them complete. Hopefully the cloudy one and some fun clear ones. I still wanted, most of my channel is about PvP, but I still love doing these challenges, and I'll post them occasionally. But my channel is mostly going to be focused on PvP for the foreseeable future, but I'll post this occasional stuff. So for those that watched me beforehand, or maybe still enjoy this puzzle solving activity, then hopefully you might give this video a thumbs up. Let me know down in the comment section below what other solos and duos you want me to complete, and I'll see everyone in the next video.